Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our TNA series, See Our Daredevil, bringing you all the live action as we are officially at the go-home show for TNA Turning Point. Of course, that show is main evented by Austin Aries challenging Johnny Impact for the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship. We also have the X Division Championship on the line as DJZ takes on, that is, the challenger in Amazing Red, as well as a bunch of other matches set for that show. But before we get to that show, we have to get through this show, which starts off in front of 8,695 people in the Target Center in Minnesota, with a backstage segment featuring Magnus absolutely livid about what happened last week, the match that he lost to EC3 in, thanks to Dixie Carter distracting him enough to cause him to be counted out. Mickey James, his wife, is trying to calm him down. She tells him that they need to keep their focus on reclaiming their thrones, reclaiming their championships. They may not have the next title matches, but that doesn't mean that they can't make sure they get the ones afterwards. They both have guaranteed rematch clauses, and they need to make sure that Eric Bischoff gives them those rematches at Final Resolution. Magnus seems to calm down a little bit upon hearing this and says that's not a bad idea, before the couple walk off heading towards Bischoff's office. So they are set to go talk to Eric Bischoff to make sure that they get title matches at Final Resolution, and kind of go from there. After that, we have an opening contest. Cooled the crowd a little bit, but that's all right, in which Madison Eagles, in a bit of an upset, defeats Taryn Terrell in 640 by pinfall with a Hellbound. After cheerleader Melissa distracted Taryn Terrell for Madison Eagles to get the victory. Essentially, kind of showing that Madison Eagles and cheerleader Melissa are still working together. That it's not just the tag team title tournament that is bringing them together, but that they're working together beyond it. So, bit of a way to get Madison Eagles a victory here, a decisive victory at that. I mean, there was a distraction, but she still beat Taryn Terrell cleanly by pinfall. So we will have to see how this duo continues to work, including next week when they have their semifinal matchup in the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Title Tournament against Team Kick, Evie and Nixon Newell. We move on from that to Backstage Promo with Kazarian and the Wolves. They are backstage with Jeremy Borash, who asked them about this Sunday. I want to do this really quick because Kazarian has a gimmick that was getting stale, so I was in the process of changing his gimmick to more of a Rebel gimmick now, and it got a great rating. Good stuff there. Gives a small boost to microphone skills during angles, so that's helpful. He's kind of more of a Rebel at this point now versus, just being some cocky guy. Anyway, the Wolves say that they have respect for Kazarian and have no problem teaming up with him. However, Black Friday management deserves no respect. And this Wolf Pack, kind of motioning about the three of them, will rip them to shreds this Sunday. Kazarian says that Daniels and him were the best of friends, but if anything, that means that he knows Daniels better than anyone. So while the Wolves rip Homicide and Low-Key apart, Kazarian will do what he needs to in order to make Daniels suffer. 60 rating, not great, but it is what it is. Borash has to be built up as a interviewer, so he's going to be bringing down some segments. He's still going to continue to bring down some segments, but I don't care. It's fine. I'll still take a 60 at this point. After that, we move on to a brief little promo, basically just from the Killer Elite Squad. Chrissy Hemme basically just telling everyone to make sure that they're not ignoring the Killer Elite Squad, and if they do so, everybody dies, essentially. Just wanted to get them some time on Impact, try to maybe raise up their popularity a little bit. We'll have to see how that works out for them. After that, we have a kind of a little bit of a random triple threat matchup in which Brian Kendrick defeats Johnny Gargano and Kenny King in 745 when Kendrick pinned Gargano with a sliced bread number 2 after Chris Hero Chris Hero came out and distracted Kenny King in that matchup. 58 rating, pretty good match there. 55 from Gargano. He outperformed Brian Kendrick, which is kind of surprising. Kenny King with 46. But yeah, Kendrick getting a victory. maybe trying to get things back on track for him heading forward when it comes to getting back in line for the X Division Championship. But for now, he gets the victory here in this matchup, and Kenny King with a little bit of a distracted result there with Chris Hero, of course. Those two men set to go at it this Sunday at Turning Point as well to kind of end that feud. I haven't decided if that's a pre-show match or a main show match. It's going to kind of depend on how the rest of the card plays out, but we'll see how that happens. After that, Kevin Steen and El Generico are backstage, and they talk about Red Dragon being one hell of a tag team, a team that they've gone to war with many times outside of TNA. However, here in TNA, things are going to be different because Steen and Generico have a goal of getting to the TNA tag team titles, and a loss to Red Dragon is not going to help with that goal. So they may have respect for him, but they plan to beat him this Sunday. Didn't help the storyline, but to be fair, this is not a storyline that's a make or break storyline for our company right now, so it's fine. Getting them a chance to get Red Dragon and Generico on TV and getting them to be able to do something. After that, Samoa Joe is backstage when he is approached by the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. It does get announced. It actually got announced earlier in the night, and I forgot to announce it before now, that the main event for this evening is Samoa Joe and Johnny Impact taking on Bully Ray and Austin Aries. So that should be one hell of a crazy tag team matchup heading into Turning Point. But Samoa Joe has Johnny Impact approach him backstage. Impact says that they don't have to like each other, but tonight they can stick it to Austin Aries and Bully Ray. Impact says that as long as things go well tonight, he may just be willing to give Joe a shot at the championship in the near future once he's put down Aries for good. Joe puts his hand up to stop him from talking before putting it back down. Says that he doesn't care about the fake promises or the lies. He just wants to fight. So he'll work with Impact tonight during the matchup. But after the match, if Impact isn't prepared for everything or for anything, he would be the stupidest man in TNA. Joe walks off as Impact looks uneasy about what Joe just said there. 67 rating. Impact, very poor when trying to improvise. Doesn't seem completely likely, but whatever. We'll take it. After that, we have a tag team matchup happening featuring Madison Rayne and Gail Kim, the two women facing each other at Knockouts Knockdown for the TNA Knockouts Championship. They defeat ODB and Kimberly, who essentially ODB was told that she was supposed to have this tag team matchup and just kind of randomly grabbed Kimberly backstage and said, "You're coming out here with me." But then towards the end of the match, ODB just hopped off the apron and walked out on the match, leaving Kimberly to eat the raindrop from Madison Rayne. 61 rating for the match, though. Good stuff there. Obviously, throughout the match, Rayne and Kim were able to work together pretty well, but there were some awkward moments, especially since the two are set to face each other for the Knockouts Championship in just a couple weeks' time here. So a couple of awkward moments there, but they were able to get the victory here tonight. After that, they celebrate after the match, but they do have a little bit of a stare down after Kim is handed the TNA Knockouts Championship by the referee. ODB runs back in while they're distracted and clubs Gail Kim from behind, knocking her into Madison Rayne and causing the championship to fall from her hands. ODB then quickly leaves the ring as Gail Kim turns her attention to ODB and yells at her from the ring, kind of yelling at her, kind of begging for her to come back into the ring and do that again. Eventually, Gail Kim turns back around and Rayne is standing there holding the championship she just dropped. Rayne says something not picked up by any mic, so we can't actually hear what she says, but she does hand the championship back over and leaves the ring as Gail watches her walk off back towards the back. So whatever was said between the two, we're not sure, but a little bit of a tense moment there between Madison Rayne and Gail Kim ahead of their Knockouts title matchup in just a couple of weeks' time. I did adjust it to make sure, like I said, next week is the second semifinal matchup of the Knockouts Tag Title Tournament, and then I adjusted the Knockouts Knockdown event to be happening in the first week of December in the game. I had said last video that I was going to do that, and then I went and looked and noticed that I actually had it set up to be the final week of November. and we decided to change that, or I decided to change that, so now we have Turning Point, and then 2 weeks later we have the Knockdown event, and then 2 weeks after that we have Final Resolution. So kind of a bit of a crazy moment there, but it's all right. Nevertheless, these two are set to go at it in just a couple weeks' time with the Knockouts Championship on the line. After that, we get a brief little promo, brief little segment that is backstage with Rosemary seen having a conversation with someone. I don't know why it says without someone off screen. With someone off screen is what it should say. The camera pans back though, and it reveals that she's actually talking to herself, apparently hearing voices. So I'm not sure what's happening there, but Rosemary's going a little crazy. She kind of mentioned something about making sure that the person is put on notice or something like that. Kind of, making sure her eyes are awoke. Her eyes are open and she's awoken to the truth or something like that. So kind of a bit of a rambling thing going on, but we'll have to see what that ends up leading to, I suppose. After that, we have a non-title matchup in which Paul London, actually with a surprise victory over DJZ, the X Division champion, in A41 by pinfall, with a surprise roll-up there. Essentially, Shelton Benjamin came out to ringside, provided a little bit of a distraction. Amazing Red came down to stop Benjamin from getting involved in the match, but the actions of Red caused the distraction enough for DJZ to get rolled up with a schoolboy pin and defeated. So Paul London now has a non-title victory over the X Division champion. Kind of a big deal there. 73 rating for the match too. It's really good. DJZ seemed off his game. He has a gimmick that's getting stale, so now I'm going to have to work on that. But the two have great chemistry, so that's good to see. But yeah, 73 rating for the matchup, which turned out to be a really great non-title matchup there, as Paul London now has a win over the X Division champion. Or at least the X Division champion as of right now, because this Sunday could change. As Paul London celebrates the victory, Z looks like he has a look that is one of those that, he realizes he messed up on that one and let himself get distracted. Red gets in the ring and says something to Z kind of along the lines of, my bad, I didn't mean for that to happen. Z nods before shaking Red's extended hand, but before they were able to do any sort of celebrating, Shelton Benjamin attacks them both from behind with the X Division Championship and stands tall over both men, raising it in the air. So kind of putting over the X Division Championship matchup between DJZ and Amazing Red at Turning Point, while also putting over the Paul London Shelton Benjamin matchup, with of course the winner of that matchup getting the next title shot or next match to challenge for the X Division Championship, essentially. Kind of a number one contenders match, essentially. So got to put over both of those matches in one segment there. After that, we go backstage where Eric Bischoff is in his office. Let's get a 77. Holy cow. Mickey James and Magnus walk into Bischoff's office. Bischoff kind of sighs before asking what he can do for them. Mickey says that they have it in their contracts that they are guaranteed rematches for their championships. They know that they can't have the next title matches because they're already set in stone or whatever BS. Mickey's not happy about it. But she wants to make sure that they are the challengers for the winners of those matches. So they want to Mickey wants to make sure that she's the one who challenges the winner of Gail Kim and Madison Rayne, and of course she wants to make sure that Magnus is the one who challenges the winner of Johnny Impact and Austin Aries. Bischoff says that he knows that they have those rematches, but those rematches are only guaranteed for as long as the people who have the titles, who they lost the titles to, are still the champions. Meaning that if Johnny Impact loses this Sunday, or if Gail Kim loses in a couple of weeks' time, they lose their rematches. They lose their guaranteed rematches. Magnus and Mickey James are not happy about this, but as Bischoff also goes on to mention that they are banned from the ring for those matches, so that they can't really do anything to make sure that Impact and Kim retains their titles. Further frustrating Magnus to the point that he looks like he's getting ready to start throwing stuff around again. Bischoff then puts his hand up and says, "However, I will do you guys a favor. I'll do you a solid. I'll give you an opportunity. This will be an opportunity to extend those rematches. So that way, should Impact or Gail Kim lose their matches, then you will still have a rematch. You'll still be the next in line for those titles. All you have to do is, well, simply win your upcoming matches. Magnus kind of asks what matches he's talking about, and Eric Bischoff announces that Mickie James will be taking on Angelina Love at the Knockouts Knockdown. If Mickie wins, then she gets to challenge the winner of Gail Kim and Madison Rayne at Final Resolution. But if she loses, she doesn't get that extension. Now, granted, in this world, and it's not fully explained here, but the way it's set up, Mickie could still technically be getting a rematch as long as Gail Kim doesn't lose her matchup. But if Gail Kim was to lose the title to Madison Rayne, then Mickie would lose that matchup. So she kind of has to win, but also if she loses, as long as Gail Kim wins, she's still kind of set. It's kind of a gray area. But yeah, so that match gets made for Knockout Knockdown. And then this Sunday, Magnus will be taking on Ethan Carter III in a rematch. Magnus kind of smirks at this idea because, of course, he would love a rematch against EC3 at this point after what happened last week, and says that if that's what it takes for the King and Queen to reclaim their thrones, then so be it, before walking off. I don't remember if I actually... Okay, I just kind of ended it without a period there. Whatever. So, this Sunday will be Magnus and EC3 in a one-on-one matchup, and in a couple weeks' time, it will be Mickie James versus Angelina Love. So we'll have to see how those matches end up playing out. After that, we go back to the ring for the first of the two semifinals matches in the Knockouts Tag Team Title Tournament. And in a 50-rated matchup, the Beautiful People defeat the Lucha Sisters in A31 to win Velvet Sky, pin Leva Bates after using a foreign object, using the can of hairspray on Leva Bates there. Beautiful People advance on to the finals to take on the winner, to take on the team of either Cheerleader Melissa and Madison Eagles or Team Kick, Evie and Nixon Newell, depending on who ends up winning that match next week. So Beautiful People getting kind of a cheap victory, but still getting the victory. Afterwards, though, wow, AJ Styles didn't do well with a script to follow. That's kind of surprising. Anyway, the Beautiful People celebrate their win as the Lucha Sisters head back to the back, kind of disappointed about their loss. The Guns get in the ring to celebrate with them, but AJ Styles' music begins playing. Sabin immediately turns his head to the entrance area as Styles comes out with a mic and a smile on his face. He says he's glad to see Sabin in such a good mood because he just got done talking to Bischoff backstage. See, he knows that Chris Sabin wants to be Mr. TNA so badly. It's just eating at him. He wants to be the one known as Mr. TNA heading forward. And Sabin does have a victory over AJ Styles. This is true. But as Styles has been saying recently, one victory does not make you Mr. TNA. So if Sabin is really serious about wanting to be Mr. TNA, which he really seems to be, then, then he should really have to go through a gauntlet of some of the biggest names in TNA history. Now, he couldn't exactly call up a few people because they're kind of retired at this point. But he was able to find somebody. And that somebody is who he will be taking on this Sunday at Turning Point. Because this Sunday at Turning Point, Chris Sabin will be going one-on-one with... Styles kind of pauses. And that's when the music of the returning Jeff Hardy hits. Jeff Hardy is back after his injury suffered at the hands of Abyss in that cage match. Hardy is back and will be taking on Chris Sabin this Sunday at Turning Point. Sabin looks on in shock as Hardy and Styles kind of stare down Sabin and Shelley as the crowd cheers loudly. So yeah, Jeff Hardy is back, and he is set to take on Chris Sabin one-on-one this Sunday. Gotta imagine that AJ Styles will be in his corner since we all know that Alex Shelley will probably be in the corner of Chris Sabin. Changing Jeff Hardy's gimmick because he had a weirdo gimmick that was still kind of associated with the Willow the Wisp character, so I wanted to change it to just the Charismatic Enigma gimmick, which got an initial rating of awful, so that's good to see. Hopefully that changes in due time. But yeah, 76 for the segment here. Good stuff there. After that, we get a brief segment backstage with Jay Lethal and April Mendez talking to each other. Mendez talks about her match with Rosemary at Knockouts Knockdown and how it's an opportunity for her to really get into the thick of things when it comes to the TNA Knockouts Championship. Since Rosemary's not, she's had a title shot before, so she's not really into the thick of things herself. But she is somebody who's been a mainstay in TNA over the past year or so. So it's somebody who has really been here for a while. Someone who she can really end up stepping into the ring and having some success against. Lethal talks about being glad for her when it comes to that matchup. However, he wants to make sure he gets featured on pay-per-view as well, so he says he's going to go talk to Eric Bischoff about a match this Sunday. Mendez says that she's going to stay here, just decides to stay behind. So Jay Lethal walks off without April Mendez, and then the lights flicker a little bit. Mendez kind of looks around confused, a little bit of confusion on her face, before the lights officially go out completely. We then hear a scream from a female, followed by some creepy laughter. When the lights come back on, Mendez is rolling around on the ground, red mist all over her face. Officials come running in to try to help her out as the creepy laughter then is heard throughout the backstage area once again. So clearly, somebody who is known for spraying mist in people's faces, as if it's that much of a surprise, decided to attack April Mendez with some mist just a couple weeks before Knockouts Knockdown, as if it's a surprise as to who would have done that. Nevertheless, it's got a 50, which isn't terrible. Trying to figure out ways, to keep building people up, and getting Lethal and Mendez in a segment like this is probably going to help them out a little bit, because that's definitely a higher rating than both of their popularities right now, so that should help out. Lethal also benefit from having a hot catchphrase, so there's that. After that, we go back to the ring, and Bobby Lashley squashes a local jobber in 301 by pinfall the Dominator. That's really all this match was. Just a 3-minute squash for Bobby Lashley. Only got a 33, which is kind of disappointing. Bobby Lashley had an in-ring performance of 55, so there's that. And they have great chemistry. Not that it's going to mean anything, because we're probably not going to bring this guy back anytime soon. And yes, I'm aware that, it's the former Garrett Dillon from NXT and all that, but in this world right now, he's just a local jobber who got squashed by Bobby Lashley. That's all he really is. Move on from that. Jeremy Borash is backstage with Angelina Love, and asks her about the match that is now announced for Knockouts Knockdown. She says that this whole Queen of the Knockouts shtick is old and overused in wrestling. She says that Mickie James may be a legend in women's wrestling, but she's going to learn that she is not the present Angelina Love is. Love says that she knows that there's nothing official in it for her to win this matchup, but unofficially, defeating the former Knockouts champion would definitely get her into contention for the title herself. So once she puts Mickey's dreams of her rematch to sleep, she'll be watching that Gail Kim and Madison Rayne match very closely, because she may just be the next one to come after the winner. So, kind of making intentions clear that she wants to get back into the Knockouts title picture. After after losing, that is, to Velvet Sky at Bound for Glory, she hasn't really been doing a whole lot other than just a match here and there. But she wants to get things back on track and get herself back to being in the Knockouts title picture, which she has obvious experience in, being a multiple-time champion herself. So we will have to see how that ends up playing out. After that, we get a one-on-one matchup that gets a 72 rating, with EC3 defeating James Storm in 1032 by pinfall with a 1%er after Rockstar Spud interfered. Dixie Carter providing a distraction on James Storm, costing him the victory. 72 rating. Storm with a 73, EC3 with a 70. Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode were both at ringside for this matchup. And, actually what happened was Bobby Roode came down to the ring with Dixie Carter. Kurt Angle came out and kind of chased off Bobby Roode from doing anything, but obviously couldn't go after everybody that was out there. And so Dixie Carter was able to provide a distraction, and Rockstar Spud was able to run interference and cost James Storm the victory. So maybe, just maybe, Kurt Angle will not be able to completely fight off the odds this Sunday at Turning Point for James Storm. We'll have to see. Maybe you'll have to find somebody else to help him out with it. Nevertheless, that's got a 72. And afterwards, EC3 goes to celebrate, but he gets surprised because he did not see Kurt Angle come out. So he gets surprised by Angle standing there. He turns around and gets laid out with the last call super kick from James Storm. Bobby Roode gets into the ring and attempts to hit Storm with a beer bottle once again, but Angle calls it out to Storm, and Storm ducks out of the way. Roode kind of stumbles forward, and when he turns around, he gets hit with a last call super kick from James Storm as well. Roode and EC3 are laid out on the canvas as Angle gets into the ring and celebrates with James Storm. Gets 71 for this here. So faces kind of get a little bit of the advantage there heading into this Sunday. Now, obviously, EC3 is probably not going to be getting involved in this matchup now that he has his own match to worry about against Magnus, but you never know. He still could potentially get involved. Rockstar Spud could still potentially get involved, so could Dixie Carter. So we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. After that, Black Friday Management are backstage, and Daniels kind of starts things off by chuckling a little bit, changing his gimmick here as well, because he didn't have anything wrong with his gimmick, but I just felt like it was smarter to go with the Chosen One gimmick. Got a great rating. Can be penalized for being used in lengthy angles, though, so there's that, but got a great rating for his Chosen One gimmick. Anyway, he's chuckling. He says that the Wolves and Kazarian could talk as tough as they want to, but Daniels knows the truth. Daniels knows that they're scared. They talk like tough, like they're tough guys. I can't talk apparently, but they have no idea of what's to come their way this Sunday. As the fallen angel, Daniels has seen the future, and the future is Kazarian, Edwards, and Richards laid out, defeated at the hands of Black Friday Management. And in due time, they all will fall. 75 rating for the segment. Good stuff there before the big 6-man tag team matchup this Sunday. After that, we get Black Friday Management coming out to the ring. And what in the... Oh, I forgot to turn Shelly Martinez heel. Shelly Martinez, by the way. Slight spoilers. I brought her in to manage Hernandez and then ended up releasing Hernandez. So I needed something else for her to do. So now she's managing Black Friday Management. Figured that would be kind of a interesting thing for her to have happen over. Not necessarily that they need management, but I kind of went off the idea that Christopher Daniels would probably be busy sometimes when it comes to managing, when it comes to coming out to the ring with those guys. So there would be times where Shelly Martinez decides to come out and with them instead. So as we saw in this matchup, Black Friday Management had Shelly Martinez coming out to the ring with them. I got to make sure I move her from face to heel. But regardless of any of that, they do defeat Cabana and Eric Young in 10:59. Low-key pinned Colt Cabana with a Warrior's Way. 70 rating for the matchup. Strong showings across the board there from the four men. But Black Friday Management able to get some more momentum heading into this Sunday's matchup. After that, we go backstage where Austin Aries and Bully Ray are there with Jeremy Borash. I'm probably going to stop rating Borash on a microphone for a little while until I can get his popularity up. Nevertheless, Borash asks if they know they can work together tonight, and Bully Ray says that Borash is asking the wrong team that question. He says that like he mentioned last week, he's not that much a fan of Aries, but he knows how to work well with others. And as we saw earlier in the night, Johnny Impact and Samoa Joe definitely cannot work together. Aries says that Impact has proven time and time again that he's in it, that he's in everything, he's in it for himself, and that there's no way Joe will work well with Johnny Impact tonight. So he's going to go out there with Bully Ray, defeat those two tonight, and then turn around this Sunday, become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So, strong words there. Would have been better if Borash hadn't been rated, but it is what it is. We move on to the main event itself, which gets a 81 rating. My God, even with the lack of psychology, they still got an 81. About that fantastic heat and great wrestling, Johnny Impact and Samoa Joe defeat Austin Aries and Bully Ray in 10:32 when Samoa Joe submits Bully Ray with a coquina clutch. It is suddenly started to rain outside. Anyway, sorry, slight distracting. 81 rating for the matchup there. Big time rated match heading into the pay-per-view as Samoa Joe is able to get the submission victory over Bully Ray. 71 from Bully Ray, 75 from Aries, 78 from Joe, and 83 from Johnny Impact. Like a psychology, like I said, but that's, it is what it is. After that, Johnny Impact is celebrating before he's grabbed from behind and choked out by the Coquina Clutch himself from Samoa Joe. Aries and Bully Ray do absolutely nothing to help Johnny Impact as Maurice is screaming out for somebody to come help out Johnny Impact. Aries then grabs the TNA World Heavyweight Championship that's still at ringside and raises it in the air as Johnny Impact is left motionless on the mat to end the show. So the final image we get from this episode of Impact is the TNA World Heavyweight Championship being lifted in the air by the challenger Austin Aries. So that should be kind of a lasting image heading into this Sunday's pay-per-view. This show itself gets a 76. I'll take it. Increased popularity in 10 regions. Growth restriction kind of is what it is at this point. I think we only have a couple more months left to worry about that before we won't have to worry about it anymore. So good stuff there. Yeah, I'm excited for what's to come this Sunday. At least this Sunday in game, not the Sunday in real life. Although it might be Sunday by the time we get to it, I'm not sure. But definitely excited for what's to come at Turning Point. Of course, we have the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Johnny Impact defending against Austin Aries. We have the X Division Championship on the line. DJZ defending against Amazing Red. We have the six-man tag team matchup, Kazarian and the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the American Wolves, going up against Black Friday Management. We have EC3 going one-on-one with Magnus. We have Paul London and Sheldon Benjamin going one-on-one to determine the number one contender for the X Division Championship. We have the... I am suddenly spacing on all the other matches I had planned. We, of course, have Bobby Roode and James Storm in that Wall Street fight happening. We also have Kenny King versus Chris Hero happening on the show. It is either going to be happening on the main show or it'll be happening in the pre-show. It might be the pre-show at this point. We also have Red Dragon taking on Stenerico as well. So this should be one hell of a show. We also might have something from Jay Lethal. He said he was going to talk to Bischoff. Not sure if that's going to lead to something. And then, of course, after that will be the build to Knockouts Knockdown, where we already know a couple matches happening on that show, including April Mendez and Rosemary, if Mendez isn't injured and can fight at that show. We will also have the finals of the Knockouts Tag Team Title Tournament, and of course the what might be number one contenders matchup between Mickie James and Angelina Love. We're still kind of unsure about that. And of course, the main event of that show being Gail Kim defending the Knockouts Championship against Madison Rayne. As usual, leading the way on Thursday night. Big victory. Just shy of 1.5 million viewers. 76 rating. I'm not sure. I want to look at that really quick. I know this episode's already kind of longer than it normally is anyway. But I just want to look and see. Okay, so all of our broadcasting deals are like 6 months, just under 7 months. So, yeah, we might have to see if we can make some adjustments to these, because that's not going to help us out. It's not going to help us if we keep getting restricted on what we can do, because right now, popularity-wise, we're closing in. We are closing in. We are at a 73 across America right now. All we need to do is get 4 more points in popularity in at least 5 of those regions, and we will jump up to big size, which will be kind of a big deal itself. And as you see, popularity-wise, we've been growing decently. Granted, we've only gone up 8 points since this series started, but if you look at it, go and look at August, so just 3 months ago in the game, we were at a 69, so we grew 4 points in that 3-month period. And this month isn't done yet, so we still might get a pretty big, at least a point jump when it comes to Turning Point as well. So might be getting up there, might be kind of improving things and getting that popularity that we need, so that way we can get to that next level for sure. Kind of don't want to click on and show you guys the assistant stuff because I have a bunch of stuff happening related to the World Cup that I've announced earlier in the series. I will be going over the details of that in a future video, but needless to say, a fair amount of people got hired for it. So nevertheless, thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. And the next episode you see in the series will be TNA Turning Point 2014. Catch you guys all then.